We are back. We're back. We are back. All right, gonna play rapid games. YouTube though. Rapid games. 10 minutes. 10 minutes. It's your move, sir. It's your move. G6. We're gonna explain the moves as we go along. Could explain the moves. Okay, I can't see the clock now. I can't see the clock. Hold on, folks. That's interesting. All right, now I can see. Can see the clock, but now I could see it. All right, bishop c4. e6. We don't give him anything like this. It's all about the speed, though. Even in rapid games. In rapid games, it's all about the speed. Actually, in rapid games, it's all about, like, thinking process, but it still could come down to, like, speed, right? Still 10-0, no increment. d5. You could take bishop b3. I think takes bishop b3 makes sense. Or even bishop b3. It's probably bishop d3 makes sense as well. If you play here, there's a couple of choices here. So we could play knight f6. He doesn't want to see bishop g4. Comes down to speed though. Is h6 stopping bishop g5? It's like a symmetrical now, some kind of symmetrical position. Knight d2, rook e8, controlling the open file. Typically, you want to play your knight f1. Maybe it's an idea. All right, we could play knight c6. I don't mind the double pawns. Okay, knight e5. We could take knight takes, c5. Takes, c3 takes. Pawn takes is also possible, but knight d7, you're hitting. So you can still do this. Bishop f4. It's knight c5, maybe. Pawn is under attack for some time. He's sinking process. Sinking process here, what to do? It's probably knight takes. Knight takes. And instead of the pawn. And then it's c5, c3. Pawn takes. Maybe knight d7 anyway. Sinking. That's a huge sinking process. If this move is complicated, knight takes is complicated. So obviously we talked about this. Rook takes. So he takes. I will talk about knight d7. But he may have f4, but so maybe f4. He takes this way. Bishop e6. Some activity going on the f file. So knight e4. All right, let's do this. So the idea is pretty simple. In some lines, we might be taking on e5. I don't think it's doable right now. I mean, h6 is still under... You don't want to give up this bishop that easily. Not giving it up, but it's more like trading. You don't want to trade on e5 right away. And there are certain ways you could do it, but not here. But knight d6 may be the idea. Bishop f5. We may be putting some pressure against d4. Pressure against d4. He plays bishop f4. Maybe queen d2 is next. So we go with ideas, bishop f5. It makes sense to play. It makes a lot of sense to play queen d2. He's hitting h6. You want to be careful though, because maybe g5 is a move. Bishop back, bishop f5. We want to take that way. There's also queen b3 hitting on d5. But then I suppose we could play bishop f5. I don't say queen takes d5 is a good move. He plays rook c1. We go with the flow here. Takes. He wants to control the c file. He may just pre-move it because he might take. More YouTube videos are coming in though. I mean, I talked about yesterday we would have one or two. Today we will. We're also working with some, you know, like designs. Designs, you know, for the older videos. I'm like working in like some kind of improvements all across, including collabing with other people, in communication with some. He plays rook e1. Takes. Let's take though. We just take though. I mean, it's knight takes, bishop takes. You want to be careful. You don't want to do. It's probably queen takes. Knight takes. B4 is hanging. Has to be this. And I don't know why he's thinking about this move because it feels like it's pretty forcing. All right. We have rook c8. The knight is pretty good here, though, on d6, as opposed to, like, c6, f6, because the knight controls more squares, even backwards. But this is more interesting, these squares that I'm doing. Stopping queen b5. Keeping an eye on c4. Rook c8, should he takes? I think he will, though. Takes, rook c1. Queen f5, we could take. This may be an idea. We're gonna go for it. Somehow I have an eye on d4, long term. But once I change one pair of rooks, this is maybe easier for him to hold. To hold the pawn at d4. It's all about the speed, though. Speed. You don't want to go backwards. Knight takes. It doesn't make a lot of sense here unless there's a tactic. There's actually a tactic here. Wow. Knight takes g6. Ooh. So if he takes, knight takes g6, pawn takes, bishop takes d6. But maybe this is hanging. So I suppose if he were to do takes, knight takes g6 is like, this is hanging first. So it doesn't work. Queen here, he's putting some pressure on d6 indirectly, I guess. This is maybe where bishop takes makes maybe some kind of sense, but you always have to like watch against like a7. He's attacking a7, keeping an eye on this one. But the idea is pretty simple. If he were to take knight c4, he might take on e5. Then you're weakening up e5 as much as possible. So maybe here. He's just going to be up a pawn, though. There's also knight b5, keeping an attack on d4. There's also queen b6. But queen b6 is maybe knight takes g6 may work here. Because if you take, then queen takes d6. It's protecting the rooks. So this is maybe an interesting move, though, queen b6. The real question is knight b5. So you want to play here and here, attack on d4. And you're also defending e7. Suppose he plays here queen b6, knight b5, queen b3. You could take on d4, or you could take here, rook takes next, knight takes d4. So you could keep defending d5. We're gonna play knight b5. See what happens. So if he goes for this one, it's queen takes, queen b3. So you want to attack here, keeping an eye on this one. It takes, but queen takes d5. So he might go for this. Queen b4. It's one of the moves. How strong is this move? So queen b6. So if you were to go for this, the idea of knight d7 is, you know, he wants you to move the... he wants you to take, so for example, this knight would be hanging. So this move the queens away, and, you know, let's say queen e6. Let's say here in queen d8, the knight is hanging on b5. So maybe he wants to here and knight c5. The point is, if knight d7, you can still take here because you're eyeing to take on f4. So maybe some kind of trade on e1 takes, and then queen takes f4 after he takes here. We do have the central pawn at d5. It's a pass pawn in this line. So this one maybe not that greatest move. And right now we are attacking d4, so it's not easy what to do. Maybe it wouldn't be surprising if he went back. But again, d4 is under attack. So he went for this one. The real question, if you go for this right now, is just takes. I suppose it's takes, queen here. Makes sense. Rook is also queen takes. So there's a couple options. Maybe queen c6. Knight here. Takes on d4. This queen takes d5 though. Let's go for that. Knight e5. Oh, there's rook here. Oh, never mind. I just take. Never mind, we just stick here. So knight e5 makes a lot of sense. You know, if you go for this, it's knight takes d4. So knight e5 is a blockade. Blockade the fact that we are attacking on d4 and also attack the queen. So this move makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's the only move that makes sense here. I mean, if you could play queen e7, you could still take, I suppose. d4 is hanging. But the pieces are like moving close in to my king, so I have to be careful. So this move makes a lot of sense. Now I have to be careful where I move my queen. May have here though. Takes, bishop takes. Doesn't look like it's a real... Doesn't look like it's a real move that I like. Oh, you're probably gonna repeat. Right back. Wow, he's actually changed his move. That makes a lot of sense, though. Wow, this move? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Knight takes g6. Whoa. Ouch. Ouch. Yeah, I'm losing. Defending f7, I mean, this is tough. We have to depend on the speed now, like the clock. What else here? You have to depend on the clock. I mean, if he takes the queen, it gets wicked complicated. So maybe I still have a chance. Yeah, if he's gonna start sinking, that's gonna be rough. That's going to be rough. If he move his queen where, maybe he could repeat. That would be interesting. He might play here. He's repeating. It's all about the speed. These endings are not fun though. I mean, b4. Yeah, that's not an active. I could have played that 4. Wow, that's a crappy move by me. That's a crappy move by me. F4. This is a draw or a lot worse. A draw. A draw, folks. Yeah, I'm not sure. I screwed up pretty bad. Should have find a way. I could have won on time, but it's okay. It's reasonable to draw, I guess. It's reasonable draw, but assuming black was better. Okay, this guy a little bit suspicious to me. G6. Guess we could take. Typically, these lines are pretty solid for black. I mean, I'm not sure why people play these lines. It's, any line is playable, though. But this is, it's safe approach for black. I mean, I typically don't like this, like, they give an activity like this early on. So he doesn't. This move is interesting, though, but I think knight c6, knight c3, knight f6. Black is fine here. Black is fine, folks. Black is fine. Hey, welcome in. Welcome in. Just notice the chat here. Welcome, Bear. Welcome, everybody. Rook u1, knight f6. Oh, I have to worry about e7? May have to play e6. I'm not happy about this move because it blocks the bishop, though. So if I castles, he's gonna take, queen to e7. That's a free pawn. Maybe knight e4? Knight d2, and then maybe c4, e6. So I'm actually trying to do this. We're using a knight, so c3. I don't think you understand what I'm trying to do, but castles. He's gonna play here. But c3 is fine though, because you want to defend on d4, so it does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. Yeah, knight d2. May have to take. Bishop takes. e7 is under attack still, so bishop takes makes a lot of good sense here. So if I'm not careful, this is actually the idea, and it's a central pawn. It's a central pawn. No, that doesn't work. This is defending it. So e6, rook e8. It's probably rook e8, so you could play e5. You always have to be concerned about these moves. All right, we're gonna play e6. That's fine. You want to keep it solid. So any move like here is bishop f6. Should be solid enough. Here he's a stick. Yeah, this move makes sense. I like it. Bishop doesn't belong to b5. Then we could play a rook e8. We could still play e5, but you do have to be careful that d5 could become a weakness. But it's a better square than f8, though, so maybe that's... It does make sense. Bishop f4. Putting the rooks in a good squares. I mean, he may be looking at 95. All right, we're looking for some kind of... This is the move? You take, not me. We could, we may as well pre-move it, because he might take. This move doesn't make any sense to me, though. I mean, it's not like I'm putting a piece on g4. Sometimes you want to play a move like a pawn move it, near your king, so you could have like some air with your king. But there's no back rank issue here for that he has to worry about. If I'm white, maybe I would basically consider here even some kind of a4. But there must be a knight a5, so maybe some rook move here, d1. So I'm assuming it's here knight e5. That's maybe his plan. All right, so queen b6. We may try to play on the other side of the board. You could play here, though. He's looking for mates. Some kind of knight g4, queen h6, knight f6. As if we are born yesterday. e5. I don't like knight h2 because the plan is so obvious. e5 would stop knight g4 because I got to take, and e5 is so maybe d5 could be a concern, but black could get some activity here. So we could play e5 comfortably. I think white just needed to move his rook, a1 rook. Sometimes you want to play the position, not so much what you like to do. Some people like to attack, they attack out of nowhere. Like the position is not calling for an attack, it's calling for like white moves, positional moves, and you're playing tactical. And sometimes that could really bite, because the positions are looking for a specific way to approach a position, not so much like attack at will, like any given moment. So if I were to play rook here, this may help him out, get the other rook on e1, so it's the reason why it's knight takes, maybe, perhaps. I think it's bishop c2 that could be interesting, because d5 could be a problem. But it's okay, I'm allowing it. So it's bishop c2. I don't know if I could play this, because d5 is hanging. So he finally moved the rook, which makes a lot of sense. I'm given a choice to take on d3, though. Yeah, he's going after the d-pawn. Interesting what to do here. Interesting what to do. Bishop c6 maybe, but then this may allow some kind of knight g4 after. No, there's no f4. There's also here. Yeah, the bishop is hanging. Takes here, bishop f5. Takes. Queen d6, queen f4. f6. Bishop c2, bishop c6. Queen f4, f6. Maybe. We're gonna play it like that. So the knight is good on the e5. That's the reason why I wouldn't be taking it here. But wouldn't be taking on d3. So now he's attacking here. That makes a lot of sense. Wow, maybe it's f4 after all. But it's okay, so there's also queen f6. So instead of f6, maybe it's just straight queens. That's fine, I guess. So once you trade queens, it becomes harder to attack on d5. You know, d5 is not going to be a problem. Well, we need a lot of heavy pieces on so you can attack it. So he took the queen. He's probably playing f4. Knight here. You could play knight f3. This makes a lot of sense, knight f3, to compete against the knight on e5. But the king is on f6, so here, that's interesting. Probably have to take anyway. Bishop takes. Bishop is attacking here. All right, the time is going to be a problem, so this is maybe the reason why I'm doing it that way. This one is interesting. Bishop c8, a5. I may have missed b4, though. He wants a draw. Offer him a draw back. Yeah, this pawn is... All right. Maybe this is tricky, though. But I don't like this for me, though. So if here, maybe here, f5. Or actually, how do I deal with this? Bishop b7 takes here. He's not going to take the draw now. All right, that's fine. He might take, actually, which he might take the bishop, because I think this is way too risky. The bishop may be stuck. It is way too risky, man. I mean, it's... Okay, how do I deal with this? Here, bishop c8, f5. So I'm trying to play like trap the bishop. That's actually the reason. Maybe he has f84 and he's counting for it, but I just take them. Yeah, this move makes sense, but maybe draw after all. Let's see. The issues here. You have to be careful that this move allowing king c6. So now I go here. It's probably here. It should be here. Bishop e8. Yeah, I missed this move. Yeah, I screw up this one. Now the bishop is out and dancing. Alright, check. Yeah, that's miserable. The bishop could always go out. Not good though. Still trap. It's still like finding ways to trap the bishop, but the bishop is not trapped. I mean, maybe I'm making it inactive, but this is at the cost of 2 pawns. So that's not gonna. I mean, if it's 1 pawn, then maybe he actually has a4, and it's funny that he's not seeing it right away. Like I don't understand how he cannot find a4. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he's trying to get the bishop out. So e4 would be like I have to trade or something, right? It's not like. Yeah, he's not finding it. Yeah, I guess here h6. Not good though. You want to try bishop g6. That's how he gets out. Oh wow. Wow. It's terrible. Yeah, this is 100% loss. 100% loss. Wow, I'm actually shocked by his moves. I mean, how he could not find d5, I don't know. I mean, this is also winning, but this is also winning. But hold on a second. Here, does he has g4? Because I actually want to play. This is actually a4, yeah, a4, and he's still winning. It's pathetic. All right. One more game, though. One more game. e4, one more game. It was a draw, but it was a draw. This is funny though. So you could allow him taking here. That's fine for white. I mean, take here. It's we keep this d5. I mean, c6 is a good try, but I'll go back now here. You could take. Queen b6. This is like I believe this is a wasted move because he was just threatening queen b6 and knight f2, but queen e2 actually helping white develop, and h3 is coming in. b5, I don't understand the move h3, and we could also continue with g4. So I guess he might take here though. This diagonal could be a problem. Also, you have to be careful with g4, g5, because knight h5, knight f4, knight g3 is also happening. Yeah, this move is okay, I guess. I need my knight on the king side, so I don't think the knight on c6, knight on c3 is doing anything. I actually like my knight on g3. So knight f2, it's fine. I mean, since I'm like at, opening up lines, maybe it's a5. So this may make a lot of sense. Knight takes e4. e5 is also hanging. Alright, he's taking. I suppose he'd take with the pawn as opposed to the queen. There's a reason why pawn takes, so you keep this pawn's defended. He's probably looking at this kind of stuff, like bishop e6. It feels like it's not. I mean, some kind of queen f2, bishop e3. f6 would probably, yeah. I mean, the knight is. By the way, the knight wasn't really attacking right now. Just queen d4. You just go back here and you take. So f6 is not necessary. It wasn't. The problem is maybe some like diagonal issues here. Like you're creating something here for white. All right, we play bishop e3. He's probably thinking this is the point, and bishop e6 is now a threat. But we could gain a tempo by attacking the queen. It's probably the other rook. It's probably the other rook, but we'll see. Alright, g5. He can still play bishop e6. By the way, a5 could be a problem, like weakness later on. Yeah, I still probably like this position for white. So just because he has the two bishop doesn't mean anything here. I think the bishop on e7 is not good. It's being blocked by its own pawns, f6 and b4. Just because he has a bishop doesn't mean that it's an active bishop. It could be a weak bishop. By the way, and if that's the case, queen f2, bishop c5, that would be good for black and not so much good for white. Because the bishop on e3 is active. Like, it has still, like, this one, this way, and here even though it's takeable. Here, it's interesting. Maybe we could just keep the tension. He's probably going for e4, which makes a lot of sense. So c5 is a big thing. So play king h2. I may just trick him. If as soon as he plays c5, I could actually play rook g1. Because he cannot take on e4, just queen c4 check. He loses a piece. So here is queen c4. Here takes. He missed it. Because I played it fast, he's assuming that I dropped a pawn, but I did not. We take, it's a complete free piece here, but he's trying for this comeback. And you want to block it, so this means there's like queen e4, so he doesn't have e5. He probably might resign here, but he might play on. typically when you play rapid game and you're just 7 minutes still, like what there's no compensation. If there's no compensation, then there's no point. G6. What is this move? Oh, maybe he wants to play f5. But again, queen takes, bishop d6. That's what he's trying for. So maybe it's just some tricks. If you could play some tricks, then it's okay to play on. I mean, I'm assuming here he's gonna take. And the king is on h2. I think would have been a preference if the king was on h1. You don't have to deal with some issues. Maybe we could actually do pawn takes f6. I suppose if here, this pawn, here, you still have here, this is still... We're probably gonna take. I think the best move is here. So you have to be careful. Queen here is bishop e6. But there's f7. And it's check. Oh, hold on. f7, never mind. It's check, so it does not work. These are sticks. We needed the bishop somehow. Bishop g7, so I have to be careful here. He's attacking the queen. Even rook takes. We take. I wonder if e4 is still playable though. Bishop here, I could take a knight e5. Maybe I'm still winning it. Yeah, his concern if rook takes maybe yeah, this king on h2 is giving me some hell here, I guess. But I think it's queen here and I'm all set because I'm attacking the rook. He's probably gonna play here. Because he doesn't have here. I could simply take, maybe with check. Yeah, this move. This move does not really work. Because I could take with check. Goes back here. So he doesn't have the tricks that he's looking for. He's down a rook. And once he plays e4, you're looking at king h1. There's no choices here unless rook f8. And then queen e4. Okay, so queen over. What is this? E4 still happening. Yeah, but I don't understand this move. His queen takes e4, bishop f4. If he takes here, his queen is under attack. Bishop d6, I could still take, and queen g3. This is not gonna work. Again, take the full rook e4. You must know that, you know, this is... He's counting on here, so he could play bishop d6. Even this position is not winning for him. Like, even if you give up, you're gonna have, like, tons of pieces. The idea is this bishop f4. So when he plays here, he's just taking. I mean, I'm surprised that he doesn't, like, he's not resigning this. So. All right, we're gonna stop here. It's good game though, but I mean, if I give it to the computer, perhaps it doesn't like f6. I don't think it would like f6. Yeah, so it likes white here by a lot, technically. I just want to see if my moves is okay. Yeah, so it likes queen e1 and instead of queen e2. And it wants h3, so I'm always on the right track. So here it was castle. It does like knight takes c4, but I feel like this is still playable, and it's still like in a good direction of white. So typically when people do like, let's say, castles, knight takes c4 here, I guess the problem is c6. Yeah, maybe that's a little bit of a problem. So what white is trying to do, let's say you play bishop d7 or something, it's b3, let's say c6, you play bishop g5. White has more control over d5, and d6 could even be a problem. I mean, there's also like bishop takes f6. Let's say he plays here, bishop takes f6 is like one move. Because if you take here, it's queen takes d6. So you're looking at pawn takes. You may have the best bishop you ever seen on e7. So some kind of king h1. And this is one good example that you have two bishops, but they are the worst two bishops you ever see, right? It's actually both. Not just bishop e7 is more clear. Good luck playing this one with black against the two knights, right? The two knights are probably much stronger. Knight f3 is probably could go to g4. The knight on e2 could go to g3. You're looking at some kind of stuff over here where the bishops are pretty bad. Because some people would tell me two bishops always good, Stellar. I mean, you always have to play for the two bishops. Not necessarily every single position, right? It has to be like what the board is telling you to do, right? So he took here. He played c6. The computer likes bishop b3. Knight g4 is not a great move. It likes b4, b5, I mean. And this is okay. And also it likes... I don't think it likes g4 as a forced, maybe the forced top engine move. Actually, that's interesting. So maybe g4 is popping in. Yeah, popping in. It's the second best. And the point of g4 is easy because, you know, this is really strong attack could pop in. You know, you could always play here in the right time. He's just timing it. So yeah, so the computer likes knight e4 or knight d1. I wonder if knight e4, like from a... Like, I saw that move, of course, but I just didn't like it because my knight is not going anywhere. Like, after, like, c5. I mean, where this knight is going? Computers sometimes find ways to make things work. You know, like... I mean, if I'm given a choice, like, this knight could go to here and create some issues, which I was able to, but b4, knight e4, it just feels like white is not doing anything. And sometimes Stockfish here, once you give the Stockfish more time, or you have like the local engine, you know, on your computer or something, or cloud engine, it may actually give like knight d1 a better move actually than knight e4, which I don't understand very well. Welcome in, welcome in. So knight d1 was good. d5 makes a lot of sense to me though. I think this is maybe the strongest move by him, competing in the center. Knight f2. Takes. But this is actually the issue here. I guess when he took here, he made the job easy for me. It is... No, we're going over a game that I played. It's over. It's funny that pawn takes. Wonder what the difference between both of them. Pawn takes is better than... So when you play e5, you once rook d1. Okay, that makes sense. Queen c7 and g5. So it doesn't really care about bishop a6. And after knight h5, this is actually a terrible position. Queen e1. I mean, if you play things like this, is knight g4. White is really strong here. e5 is weak. Queen h4 might be happening. f6 is happening. I mean, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Yeah, we are going... I mean, I'm actually... usually play people on Twitch. When I do YouTube here, it's more like me... It's more like me playing rapid and I explain the move as I go along. I haven't played people over the YouTube yet. Ever since I started streaming here. It's mostly on Twitch. But you also have to be a subscriber, though. f6... this is terrible move. I was discussing how f6 was terrible. The reason f6 is terrible, though, is for two reasons. I guess my opponent felt like knight takes c5 was a playable move. So let's say I play like king... no, actually, let's say I play here. Wait, whose move is it? Bishop d2 or something. No. Let's say he plays c5. And if I were to play here, it's queen d4. Right? So you move the king away, it's his queen takes e5. So when you... sometimes you want to solve your problems tactically, and instead of just like dealing it like, like you make a pawn move that may be terrible for you. The reason f6 is terrible, though, because he doesn't really have to defend the pawn that way. And it also blocks the bishop axis, like the bishop doesn't really have a lot of scope. And that's the reason why I played bishop e3. Bishop e3 is actually... the computer wants king h1, though. The point of bishop e3 is just develop a piece and you stopping c5, bishop c5. So the bishop would not come to c5. So my perspective on this move was like the bishop on e7 is like not a good piece anyway. There are sometimes people make a huge mistake. Like, for example, I'm just going to give you an example of what I mean by that. Let's say he plays e5. So sometimes people would do this, cast here, and you play this. Actually, bishop e6 is like... So let's say rook e1, and then let's say we're just giving some random moves. So let's say you do this. So sometimes people would do this. And then obviously here it's a positional mistake from White's perspective. Why would this be a mistake like bishop c5? It's just a simple trade of, we are trying to trade, right? The problem here, though, that this bishop on e7, by the way, this is maybe still playable, like maybe this is still good for White because c6 is weak. But my point is, the reason I'm not a fan of this, positionally that feels like a slightly a mistake, because the bishop on e3 is by far really strong. It's a better piece than e7. So we always tell people, like, if you have an inferior piece, let's say the bishop on e7, who's going to benefit from, like, the trade on c5? It's going to be black, not so much White. Turns out to be here that, this still, like, c6 is weak, but if I give it a different position, let's say rook c8 or something, or it would not like bishop c5. This kind of trade is just favoring black. So when you have a bad piece, you have two choices, really, like to make your piece active again, or you basically trade it for your opponent's strong piece, right? So if that's the case, if bishop c5, black would have to like really consider taking right away. Now, there are other consideration here. I mean, maybe this is the reason why computer like this bishop for White. a5 is weak, c6 is weak, so that's maybe it doesn't matter much. Bishop c8 is still weak, but I could give it a different position where bishop c5 is, still terrible. I mean, let's say a6 or something, just to prove a point. Let's say queen c4 here and something like here. It still doesn't like it. It still doesn't like it. It's still liking White all the time here. So the point is, if the bishop doesn't really get active, the only real active for black here for this bishop to get active is something along like, just let's say here and get the bishop on b6. That's one example where the bishop gets in. But this is actually not going to solve the problem because there's potential g5 and queen c4, and b4 might be weakening. You might be able to take on b4. So he didn't play he didn't really like, he played f6. The e5 pawn could be defended by tactical, like queen d4, should I take on e5? So he played e5, and then I played here, gain a tempo. I wasn't sure about this rook. I felt like the other rook would be like here, but it turns out to be that, this move is okay. g5, bishop b7. Yeah, I guess taking makes a lot of sense. But here is also very strong. King h2. It's simple. You're trying to play rook g1. And so c5 makes a lot of sense because, you locking this bishop on e7, yes, but this bishop is getting active. But here's the big issue after rook. It's funny that c4 would have been a move. I actually agree with c4. c4 would get the bishop on e7 in a better square. So c4, there's a huge line here where I guess... So let's say you go for this. He has bishop takes c4. This is actually good for black. So this means you have to take with the pawn, and maybe this bishop takes e4. So now you can see the two bishops now are really, this is entirely different position now. f5 is weak. The bishop could go to c5. c4 is double pawn. It's also weak pawn. This e5 and b4, they could actually be a problem, like maybe e4, e3. Entirely different position, like 100%, like completely different than, in a position like here. So when I played here, he obviously took, which is a big mistake, queen c4. So I actually made a mistake here. Rook g1 is not the best move. It's by far the best move is g6. You're going after the king, and if h6, maybe knight d2. This is actually very strong. You just have to be careful that e4 is not taken. Like, let's say he plays here. This is actually a tactic g7 here, and rook g1, go back here, queen, rook g6. You're looking for mate. And again, this mate it's clear because the bishop on e7 cannot really defend. You may have queen h5 and mating on h6. So what he has to do is like bishop e6, and then you have queen h5. So you go after the king, and if you play bishop d8 or something, you could still get other pieces involved. I mean, this is actually terrible for black. You can see the bishop is now doomed on d8. Like, there's nowhere to go. This potential grab here. I mean, you might, in a position like this, you might consider having a knight on g4 even, takes, knight takes, and you may still have some attack. Some kind of knight g4, visualizing the piece, instead of playing like positional like knight c4, because you could actually take on c4. It's good game. Good games today. The explanation of the games are key. We're just doing this for learning purposes and also like for entertaining. We are still 2400, so we are not really below that, which is still good. I should be back later today. Twitch, perhaps we're gonna be on chess.com, I believe. It might be in Lead Chess, we'll see. There's also videos coming in today. I played an OTB Blitz tournament, so we had one video uploaded. We're gonna upload the rest. Should be good stuff because I'm playing in person Blitz games. I had a good run. So you can see the speed, the board, the position, the opponent that I'm playing. So that's good stuff to watch. All right, folks, I'm going to get going, and I will try to be back later today. If it's not today, there's always tomorrow. We try to aim for 2 streams. If it's not 2 streams, it's 1 stream. If it's 0 stream, there's always next day. I'm trying to do every day, like a streaming every day, at least once. But if I don't stream, that means I'm busy with something else. Teaching, because I do teach. If you're looking for lessons, you could always contact me if you want. If you're not looking, if you're like me, never have a coach, we're going to be like stellar, self-mastered, go right ahead, Back in the day when I had a, potential coaching, it was $10 an hour, and it's every 2 weeks. It wasn't every week too, it was. And I declined it. It was like $10. I would have been like a grandmaster by now. Should I have a coach? And I was like, $10 is a lot of money. And then I end up paying a lot of money for tournaments, and it was more of, I end up paying a lot of USCF renewal, like it was crazy. And then I played a lot of club tournaments. It wasn't free. You always have to pay. And I end up paying a lot of money just because I didn't feel like I should have a coach and try to earn my way. I did earn my way, but still, like, this limitation, where are you gonna go? But, who knows? Maybe I could still pursue my, to get more titles, who knows? But that being said, yes, if you are interested in coaching, you could contact me. I don't mind, like, improving players so fast, I could always have new students or the same student if he's happy or she's happy. That being said, we're gonna be back later tonight, folks. If it's not tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stream, and we'll be back. Terminator is gonna be. We'll be back.